Howdy guys, Cub here. Welcome to a quick video on Minecon Earth 2018. More specifically, we're going to be focusing on the new features announced at Minecon Earth. We're going to be watching through the live stream, and I'll be pausing the video at certain points to sort of provide a little bit more insight and a little bit more context on what things have changed, why they're interesting, and also we're going to wildly speculate a little bit about how certain features could be implemented into the game. So let's just go ahead and get into it, and let's watch this Minecon Earth live stream here. So let's just go ahead and play the video here. So the first thing that was announced here at Minecon Earth, the big announcement basically was the announcement of Minecraft Dungeons. So I think that'll be really cool to see sort of like a dungeon crawler RPG type of thing, and I think they're about to show a screenshot here. So there's like a dungeon crawler basically, similar to Hermit Quest, which you guys have seen on this channel, which was developed by Iskall and his dev team. But it looks really awesome. It's going to have a whole bunch of new boss mobs and things. So hopefully some of the stuff in Minecraft Dungeons will make it into the actual game. But yeah, definitely Minecraft Dungeons is something I'm very, very excited about. So very much looking forward to that and playing that in, I think 2019 is when they announced it was coming out for PC. So that'll be really cool. Alright, so the new update for Minecraft is going to be called the Village and Pillage update. I'm just going to pause the video right here to point out a couple things to you. So first of all, this is sort of the updated architecture that's going to be in the villages. It may not be exactly like this. I'm sure there's going to be changes that are going to be made before the snapshots begin. But as you can see here, the village has changed quite significantly. You can see there's like a little marketplace over here. There is logs and hay bales everywhere. There's also a fenced-in area where there's cows. There's what appears to be like food storage over here with like a little bit of hay in the background. And there's also these houses that are 2 stories, which is sort of like the first multi-story structures in villages that we've seen so far, besides the towers, which look like they remain the same for the most part. Let's just go ahead and fast forward in the video here. And real quickly here, I'll just pause this and point out that it's interesting. This shot here is interesting because there's actually mossy cobblestone down here in the village. So that would be somewhat significant, as that's going to be a new source of mossy cobblestone, which is currently only found in dungeons and in the mega taiga biomes. So that's sort of an interesting little tidbit that you might have missed. So mossy cobblestone may now spawn in villages if it remains the same. There's also some white clay over here with this structure here. So there's new blocks that will be potentially implemented into the villages. And once again, pausing here, you can see this is a desert village. There's a lot to take in here. For instance, there is now what appears to be smooth sandstone, potentially, unless this is like a retexture here, but smooth sandstone potentially available in survival. There's also smooth sandstone stairs and smooth sandstone slabs in this shot, some of which you can see around here, around the farm, on the tops of the buildings and things. There's also a giant tower with like 4 stories, which is kind of interesting. Those are implying much bigger buildings in these villages. Also, you might notice this. This is a melon right here. Yeah, this could potentially be a new food in the villages, as melons currently only spawn in jungles, so that would also be somewhat significant as well. So let's just go ahead and hit the play button, keep watching here. And here's like an adobe structure made out of sandstone. And again, the smooth stairs. Let's just pause it here real quickly here. So again, you can see new blocks in this shot here. So again, there is the sandstone slabs right here, the smooth sandstone, of course, and then here we have a sandstone wall right here and right here. So that confirms new walls in the game as well. So that is pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and keep watching here. So yeah, that is pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of new blocks and new sort of multi-story tower structures popping up in the villages, and also multi-story houses, which is kind of awesome.
Makes a lot of sense.
So they also announced things here like the biome structures are going to be adapted to the climates. So, you know, the deserts will have flat roof because there is no rain, whereas in rainy biomes, they will have more sloped roofs the more it rains. So like the rain rolls off the roof. So I think that's pretty cool, changing each structure and changing each biome. And then they also have new villager skins. So I'll show you a close-up of these here, but let's just watch this. So this is the desert village skins. And I'm going to pause this right here because this is actually a fairly significant shot, I think. So you can see most of the other shots up until now have come with villages, but this one in particular, which appears to be in either a cold taiga or perhaps like a taiga mountain biome seems to imply that there will be a village here in the future where there is not currently. So we may be getting things like, you know, mountain villages and things like that. That's what I would guess these guys are right here. Because we already have taiga villages, so it wouldn't make sense they wouldn't put these guys in a village in the taiga. And that's sort of further explored here once we see, yeah, the savanna villagers, and then finally the jungle villagers. So this shot is also significant because it sort of implies that there will be jungle villages as well. So yeah, as you guys know, there's currently no jungle villages, so presumably they will be adding those, because why add a biome-dependent jungle villager skin if there's no jungle villages? So this basically heavily implies that there will be jungle villages in the future. So that's pretty cool. I really like that. So that's really cool. The skins look great as well, by the way. I'll show you a close-up here in just a moment. And here we see the proper taiga village right there. And so, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys now a sort of overlay of some of the villager skins and the professions that that they are. This is a photo from Minecraft.net, and yeah, you can see all the different villager professions, and you can see here how they sort of change from one biome to the other. So here's the jungle villagers, and here's the mountain villagers, or also the cold taiga villagers. We're not really sure which one it is right now, but either way, you can see how the skins sort of change biome to biome. So that's really cool. And also they have confirmed that they're going to make villagers more intelligent, you know, presumably going to work at meeting points, and maybe, you know, going to that little market area we saw earlier. And trading will also be updated. So that's going to be a huge thing. There'll probably be different trades. Trading will probably be a little bit more balanced now. And so that's going to be great. And hopefully, the thing I'm hoping for most is no more mob cramming into one house. You know, where villagers basically all pile into the same area. Hopefully they fix that issue, because that's been an issue for ages, basically. So, yeah. Alright, so here are the Pillagers and the Beast, as it's so called. So you can see the Pillagers wielding some crossbows. The giant beast has a saddle on its back. I'm just going to pause right here. So this saddle on the beast's back heavily implies that the beast can be ridden. And maybe will be some way that, you know, the players can tame the beast. That would be absolutely amazing. And I will say, as we watch these pillagers raid this village, these guys look pretty deadly. And you saw right there, the beast can indeed, like, charge villagers, and presumably that means that we can charge other players with the beast as well. So this could be really fun for, you know, like PvP battles in Minecraft as well. And you'll see here, yeah, more of the beast charging. And the beast also sort of tramples crops, and again, charges villagers. And these guys also look like they move fairly quickly, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys are implemented. So one interesting thing to sort of talk about these pillagers is if they will actually keep the zombie sieges along with the pillagers, or if they'll just get rid of the zombie sieges entirely. The reason being is because villages are already pretty defenseless against just normal zombies, and having, you know, zombie sieges plus the pillagers leaves the village pretty much totally defenseless. That is especially true when you consider that iron golems don't really naturally spawn in villages because of their reliance on, you know, the number of doors the village has. Typically, the village doesn't have enough doors to spawn in an iron golem naturally. And without an iron golem, these pillagers are just going to simply destroy any village that the player doesn't build up defenses around pretty much instantly. Like, one raid would probably take out the entire village. So that's something Mojang is going to have to address, and that means potentially changes to the golem spawning algorithm, which I know a lot of people in the technical Minecraft community are going to be a little bit weary about, because they're going to have to change the requirements for golem spawning, which means a lot of the iron farms that are built are probably going to break in some way. So, yeah, we have to be very careful about how this problem is approached, and we have to provide feedback to Mojang about the changes they make to it, to hopefully make everybody happy. So, yeah, this is some area of concern for technical players, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a cool mechanic, and I really like the way these guys move. They seem to be quite quick across the ground here. And yeah, it could be cool to see like raids and stuff in the game. So yeah, looking forward to that. The next thing that was announced is the crossbow. So we're going to take a look at that. The crossbow is something that goes further than a regular bow when you shoot it. It also has a couple of enchantments, fast load enchantment, so you can shoot it quicker, and a multi-shot enchantment, which you can see right there. And it's also going to be craftable, and as you can see here, it shoots fireworks. And this is somewhat significant because, if you guys don't remember or don't recall, fireworks, regular fireworks, do damage to players when they explode nearby. So this is going to be sort of a way to project an area of effect damage at a distance. So that's going to be actually a somewhat useful mechanic for combat. So yeah, that is actually really significant. And there's also a third secret enchantment that you can use with the crossbow. So yeah, I'm just going to wildly speculate here on what that secret enchantment could be. Right now, I think there's two sort of leading candidates. One would be sort of a homing arrow enchantment, so something like you shoot in the vicinity of a mob, and the arrow then curves toward the mob. Also known as the Yondu enchantment, for those of you guys who watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And another enchantment that I think would be really cool if they added to this crossbow would be something like a diversity enchantment, so you could shoot a different variety of items besides just arrows. So examples would be if you could shoot potions with this crossbow a far distance. That would be very useful. That would go along with the area of effect, that the fireworks are going to project, but it would be a little bit more powerful, I think. For instance, if you could load like an instant damage potion into the crossbow and shoot it like, 50 or 75 blocks, that would be super useful. Fire charges could also be part of this enchantment. So like if you could shoot fire charges with the crossbow with the diversity enchantment, that would be pretty awesome. And then of course you have some other items like ender pearls. Might be useful to shoot ender pearls a little bit further than you can normally just throw them. So that's just some speculation on what the final enchantment could be for the crossbow. And everything you've seen previously is planned to come out in early 2019. However, there is some stuff planned to come out before Christmas of this year. And so that's going to be what we're going to get into now, starting with cats. So you can see here on the screen, they have some potential cat skins that they're implementing into the game. There's going to be 9 different skins, 8 of which they've already chosen, and a 9th one which is going to be chosen by the community. So that'll be very interesting. They're also going to separate cats from ocelots. So ocelots will still be found in the jungle, but there will now be stray cats in villages that you can tame, presumably the same way you do now with some raw fish. And then, yeah, once you tame the cat, obviously it becomes a tamed cat and follows you around. Now, there's also been other changes to cats. Cats can now bring you gifts. So it's not really implied what the gift is, but I'm going to speculate here. It could be something like feathers, because, cats in real life like to chase, birds. And I'm sure if you're a cat owner, you've had a gift, quote unquote gift, of a bird that your cat has fallen once or twice at least. So it could be something like feathers. It could also be something like phantom membranes, because it was also confirmed that phantoms will be scared of cats. So cats will become a little bit more useful, as creepers are already scared of them. So that is a fairly interesting tidbit as well. So yeah, it makes sense that maybe if a cat were to bring in a phantom membrane, maybe the cat could, attack the phantom, as it's sort of like a Minecraft bird creature. So that's just speculation, but could be that the cats bring you stuff like feathers and phantom membranes. So another thing that's coming before the Christmas holiday is going to be scaffolding, which sounds like it's going to be, basically a block that allows you to fast climb. So it's going to be like ladders, except faster. Presumably it'll break very quickly, so probably instant break block, similar to slime blocks. And it's also going to be able to be broken from the bottom, and it'll just, travel up from the bottom and break all the blocks above it, similar to how coarse fruit works in the game, or coarse plants work in the game right now. So that'll be really cool as well to have scaffolding finally in the game. It's been a long requested feature for a long time, and it'll help out in a lot of building projects, so you don't have to use like dirt and stuff anymore. And so the scaffolding is going to be made out of bamboo, which we can see right here. So this is like a bamboo forest. So presumably you can craft scaffolding out of bamboo in some way. And then we also have pandas, panda bears being added to the game. And so a couple of interesting things about these guys. If we just pause it right here, you'll see this mob is actually somewhat detailed. Like, it has an eating animation. He has like a a playful animation as well. And I think this is actually the first mob to have like an eating animation like this, so that's pretty interesting. Also, adorable baby pandas. That's pretty cool. And yeah, you saw that panda right there had red eyes. This one's sneezing, so they have sort of like, each one of them has their own sort of behavior. Yeah, and some of them will have, you know, different personalities. So some will be slightly more aggressive, some will be lazy, some will be playful. And then Agnes also said there may be a very rare brown panda on occasion. So yeah, that'll be really cool to see pandas and bamboo along with scaffolding in the game. So that's really cool. So finally we have the winner of the biome vote between desert, savanna, and taiga. And turns out the winner of the biome vote was the taiga biome. And so the features hinted at for the taiga were the foxes, the campfire, and the berries. So if I go ahead and just pause this here, you can see, yeah, there's the campfire, the foxes, and the berries. So let's speculate on what these things could do, and I'll also sort of provide my input into what I think they could potentially do and how they could potentially work. So first of all, campfires. Campfires, I think, number one, definitely should put out light. I think that's definitely going to happen. Number two, it would be nice if the campfire was a way to have fire without having fire spread to wood blocks. So a way to sort of have fire without the threat of it spreading to wood and burning down your whole house. That would be nice. I think that's also somewhat highly likely to be implemented, because otherwise we already have the fire block. Like, why even add the campfire at all if that's not the case? So yeah, I think that the campfire should not have fire that spreads to other blocks. The third thing I think the campfire should do, and hopefully will do, would be to prevent mob spawning in a 32 block radius of the campfire itself. So 32 blocks this way, 32 blocks that way, 32 blocks behind the fire, and 32 blocks in front of the fire. I think it should prevent all mob spawning. The reason is because we need some type of block that allows us to effectively make areas safe from mobs, and I think the campfire is sort of the perfect block to do that. Like, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because, you know, predators and animals in real life are sort of scared of fire. Humans have used it for thousands of years to sort of thwart them off, to prevent them from, you know, attacking their camps and things. And yeah, it's also useful for a number of different reasons, you know, light, warmth, cooking, stuff like that. So I think the campfire is sort of the perfect block if they were going to implement sort of a way to make an area safe. The campfire makes too much sense not to do that. So hopefully we see something like that. Prevents mob spawning in a certain radius around the campfire, as it sort of like scares the mobs off, basically, and prevents them from coming into existence despite whatever light level is on that block. That would be super cool. So that's some blatant speculation for the campfire. Now let's talk about the foxes. The foxes I'm sort of imagining as retextured dogs. But I think they could have a very unique feature. So, if any of you guys have ever watched the Verge Science Channel, there are such things as domesticated foxes. It was part of a Soviet breeding program that lasted for many generations, and the foxes are kind of domesticated, but still kind of wild. So I think it could be interesting if foxes could be domesticated by breeding two wild foxes. Like, you couldn't actually get the wild foxes to be domesticated, but if you bred two wild ones by feeding it maybe some type of meat, then the baby fox would then be domesticated and follow you around. Now that raises the question, if that is implemented, what would the fox functionality be of the domesticated fox? So I think it would be interesting if you right-clicked a domesticated fox with a certain item. Like, let's say you right-clicked it with a gunpowder. Then the fox would turn toward what was the nearest creeper, where the nearest creeper was, and walk forward a couple blocks and then just stare in that direction. Or let's say if you right-clicked the domesticated fox with a piece of leather, it would then turn toward the nearest cow, walk a couple blocks in that direction, and then keep standing in that direction. So basically, the fox would use its sense of smell, which is very good in real life, to sort of point you toward a mob that you choose. So like if you're looking for a specific mob, let's say a chicken, right? And you right-click on the domesticated fox with a feather, it turns toward the nearest chicken, like it does a little bit of like pathfinding toward the nearest chicken in the area, and then turns that way, walks forward a few blocks, and points you sort of in the right direction toward the nearest chicken. So you can find that chicken and slay it, or breed it, or do whatever you want with that chicken. But it helps you find mobs in that way using its great sense of smell. I think that would be a great use for the domesticated fox. And yeah, would make foxes fairly useful in the game to help find certain mobs and certain things. So hopefully that is implemented into the game. That would be super, super cool, but very much looking forward to seeing what they do with the foxes. Now let's talk about the berries. The berries, I'm sort of imagining these as being, as you can see in this sort of, this little animation, maybe you can see that, it's kind of small, but there's like a bush of berries. So I'm kind of imagining it as wild blueberries, wild blackberries, something like that. I'd imagine this is going to be similar to like the melon, where it doesn't give too much hunger, probably like half a drumstick of hunger. But the interesting thing is that now that we have berries, we could make sort of a fruit salad. So I'm imagining sort of a recipe with a wooden bowl, an apple, berries, and a melon, and that could make sort of a fruit salad, which would be like a superfood, sort of similar in scale to the golden carrot. So that would actually make berries and fruits somewhat useful, and that, you could get, quickly get a bunch of berries for small meals. So like if you needed food quickly, in the forest, it would work in that sense. But you could also harvest it to get the fruit salad eventually, which would be sort of a superfood, making it more useful than just the berries standing alone themselves. So hopefully they implement that in sort of a superfood fruit salad by combining the berries, the apples, and the melons. That would be super, super awesome. So that's some blatant speculation on some taiga stuff. It's not clear if this taiga stuff will be implemented before the holidays or after the holidays in early 2019, along with the Village and Pillage stuff. But either way, I'm excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Anyways, guys, I'm out. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more like this. Thanks again for watching, guys. This has been Cub. Goodbye.